Today, I have the very beautiful Marie Antoinette. If you want to just introduce yourself and tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, my name is Marie Antoinette. I'm Marie Antoinette. I am a fashion stylist, creative director, and I did a film called Melanin on colorism, and it's also a coffee table book. So I just like to do all things creative and tie it into a purpose. So this was right up. First of all, it was amazing. Great job.
Thank you.
So this was right up my alley to be a part of this event.
Great. And Conrad Moore?
My name is Conrad Moore. I am glad to be here. The documentary really was amazing. Thank you so much for doing that. I am an anti-racism educator, organizer, and I've been doing that for almost 30 years. And I also am a peace educator with a focus on identity-based conflict.
Great. We're looking forward to hearing from both of you today. So the first thing I want to do is talk about, we talked about in the film with Willie Lynch about how we got to this place of having the whole issue of colorism among those of us who are of African descent, especially here, for here in this country, for those of us who are of African descent, how this came about. And it talked about the Willie Lynch letter and the idea of separating us and bringing in that separation to continue to keep us separated as a people. So what I want to ask both of you is, so we know how we got here. So can you give us some kind of idea of why you think we're still here in this situation where we still are dealing with this issue of colorism in our communities, as well as other communities of color? Give us some kind of idea of why you think we are still in this place dealing with colorism.
Sure.
I think it's a level still of brainwashing there. So, and there's still this undercurrent of value on light skin. And everything is visual. So if you see in music videos, if you see in movies, and you see that the beautiful, soft person is fair, that's the connection you keep making in your mind. It's over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. So to me, that's why it keeps going. Until we can visually, over and over again, see something different, just like we over and over again see value placed on lighter skin being deemed beautiful, etc., etc. Until we see that enough in the opposite direction, I think it'll continue to be the same.
Mm-hmm. Right, Conrad.
We are still living with the results of, remember if y'all saw the movie Black Panther, and the white guy was about to introduce himself, and she said, "I know who you are, colonizer." Right? That was my favorite part of the movie. It was my favorite part of the movie. Colonialism was not a joke. It was not a game. So we're still living with the remnants of colonialism and the identities that have been imposed on us by the colonizer, even in the idea of calling ourselves black. And so the division is it is identity-based conflict, right? So it's for us, it's not divide and conquer, but it's divide and rule. It's how do you rule those you've already conquered? And so that's what the Willie Lynch letter was trying to make those people understand. You've already conquered these people. How do you rule them now? Then you create division. And that was just one of the ways that created division. And the reason it's still going on is it is embedded in our cultural DNA. And so, as you said just a moment ago, it will be embedded in our cultural DNA until we name it and not expect it to go away without us actively naming it, talking about it, and going deeper to seek our healing from it. Because the internalized oppression of light-skinned or too dark-skinned, all of that is oppressive. So it's a form of oppression that we mete out on each other. So even if white people were just out of the equation, if white people were out of the equation, we have enough between us to keep the oppression going.
I was going to say too, I think too, not only brainwashing, but it's a level of self-hate.
Oh, absolutely.
Because what I will say, if my memory serves me correct, I had a ton of experience on colorism. but it was always the darker skinned male that had something to say.
Come on.
Darker than me.
Come on.
But my complexion was the issue, so it's like, it didn't make, now older I realize it's self-hate, but it's
Right.
like, you're so bothered by my complexion and you're darker than me.